Welcome to P Passionate W World, R Radio N Network, LLC, a multimedia company. Ann Arbor, Michigan, Boston, Massachusetts, Liverpool, England, Melrose, Florida, Los Angeles, California, Fullerton, California, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois are one of the many broadcast homes of PWRN, a multimedia company. The world in your hands. And now, without further ado, let me present to you one of our many hosts and their programs.
Well, good evening, one and all. This is Flash Silvermoon for What the Animals Tell Me. And tonight I'm going to share with you a lovely story about my dear dog Happy, and called Happy the Hellion. And the sidebar to it is how to choose a new puppy. And I've been watching on Facebook, so many people I know are losing their pets. They're not getting lost, they're just passing away usually. So there's been a lot of death and change. So I thought this might be a nice time to share with you how I went about finding my sweet happy dog, because it's important to find your perfect animal, your companion. So here goes. The only reason that I can even begin to tell you about my new little love Happy, a flat coat retriever, golden retriever mix. Actually, she's also part not shepherd. Anyway, she runs around a lot. I'll get back to that subject. The reason I can even talk to you about her is I just wore her out yesterday, and today that she has slept most of the evening, which has allowed me the uninterrupted space to begin her story. I had put my last dog Apple down in February. Now this story goes back about 9 years. And I had been dogless these months, waiting for my dog to appear, and not really in any big rush. I had hoped that my dog Bear, a.k.a. Spirit, was ready to reincarnate with me again. But the message I had gotten from another shaman was that he was in a more angelic form and was with me in that dimension. This opened me to the possibility that I might just look for the kind of dog that I wanted and see what happened. Just take a look. And which one of my kids on the other side might return. Late on the night of May 16th, I became obsessed with finding my dog. I had originally wanted a young dog and didn't think that I could handle a puppy. I did want either a flat coat retriever or a golden retriever, and a mix was fine with me. After searching for several hours online through Pet Finder, I saw Happy's little face beaming up at me. I was a goner. Oh, my goddess, was she cute, and those eyes would melt the coldest soul. I tried to talk myself out of a puppy and asked other psychic friends about her, and their votes were pretty much split. I knew that I would not be able to resist her in person and waited a few days just to see if the thrill would subside, but it didn't, and it even got stronger. I talked with the woman who ran the rescue in Claremont, Florida, where Happy and her whole litter had been housed, and made a date to see Happy. Thursday, May 22nd. Gulp. I called my friend Deb, another psychic and animal lover, to come with me on the road trip, and she gladly obliged. I know how I am, and this was going to be a lifetime commitment and nothing to take lightly. When I walked over to the kennel where the puppies were kept, I saw her, and I was melting on the spot. I had agreed to hold the other pup, whose name, ironically, was Apple. But when I held Happy to my breast, her whole body just collapsed and relaxed against me like she was finally home. And she licked my face, licked my chin, and smiled that happy face. Of course she was coming home with me. The love connection had been made. And this was for sure. Happy was so taken with me that she didn't even look back at her litter mates that she was leaving behind and snuggled against my chest. She even walked nicely on my leash over to Deb's van. I was prepared for any problems in her transport, but there were none. I had a box, a stuffed tiger toy, flower essences, of course, a little blanket, and she just fell asleep in my lap for the whole 2-hour trip. We made a puppy pit stop at PetSmart because they were open. Now, typically, I would be spending my money, as I always do, at Earth Pets. But this was the night, and I had nothing, had to get something. So off we went into PetSmart. I could even bring my new baby into the market in the shopping cart. This adventure was a total joy for everyone, and especially Happy, who commandeered the cart with licks and smiles for everyone there. She was an instant hit, of course, and was adoring being adored. This new mom, me, was just beaming and in ecstasy. I was also a little nervous about how she would mesh with my kids when we actually got home. Fortunately, Deb hung around to help that be a mellow experience, which was a blessing for us all. Star, my sweet flame point Siamese mix, some called him Tonkinese, who had been the baby of the family for the last 3 years or so, was my major concern, as he is his mama's shadow. I can't tell you, though, how incredibly proud I have been of the little white guy who right from the beginning loved the pup and took on the role of big brother. It has been so amazing. He is so caring and patient with her, and all 3 of us even slept together the first night. I never expected it to go that well, but it did. The following 2 months I might call the agony and the ecstasy, as both have been true. I've experienced periods of bliss and exhilaration, as well as physical pain and frustration. This has been a real learning curve for me. I have never been the greatest disciplinarian, and I knew that this pup would meet some major boundaries to become the wonderful dog that she could be. I wanted her to be the kind of friend that everyone would want to love and have visit, and who would be my dear companion. I knew my dreams for her were reachable, but I needed a plan, and I needed help. The reason I knew a bit about her and what I would need is because I looked at her chart. I looked at that astrological chart of hers, and it was all right there. Just what the challenges might be. And so I had to prepare myself. One of my clients who counsels new single moms listened to my plight, which was totally like any other single mom story, and told me to find a way to get some help. As she put it, if Mama ain't happy, nobody's going to be happy. And I had happy, and I wanted us all to be happy. So, of course, I knew that she was right and found a wonderful trainer who shared my thoughts on training with positive reinforcement. Her name, the wonderful trainer, Melanie Philpott, was a combination of Santa Claus, the dog whisperer, and a kind country dog lover. I tried to use all of the more dominating principles that friends had offered who were dog trainers, but none of them were really working. Partially, I think, because I really don't like to dominate as a style of conflict resolution, and because from what I can tell from Happy's chart, that style absolutely inflames her and makes her worse. Truth be told, I didn't need to even look at her chart to see how poorly she responded to domination. Nope, nope, nope. Yep, I do need to be the alpha in this equation. However, there are different paths to get to that place, and for both of us, gentle, firm, and positive would for the most part do the trick. There are, of course, exceptions to every rule, and I'm betting that both Happy and me are rule breakers. And, of course, we are. About 2 times a day, providing I get her some good exercise. At other times, Happy becomes demon dog, flying about wild-eyed, jaws snapping at all of her toys and anything else near them. After 2 solid weeks of daily tissue damage, I decided it is best to put her outside when she does this and just let her run it off. That works pretty well, mostly, unless, of course, she gets the occasional wild hair while she's chewing on something near me, as she is wont to do. So we need to take a very short break, and I'll be right back with you to talk to you about Happy's tale and more about how to find the right puppy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
Okay, this is Flash Silvermoon back with What the Animals Tell Me, and my tale about Happy the Hellion and how to help you pick your new puppy. I do believe that Hap wants to share the joy of her toys and choose with, she chews with me. She likes to she brings them over to my feet, lays down and begins her frenzy. She's learning to stay in her chair or pad, and hopefully that will take hold as fast as some of her other tricks, like sit, slap me 5, hit the dirt, sit up. Then we learned later on, we started to do speak, and then little voice, and reach, and spin, and leave it. Oh, yes. She absolutely loves to train. Happy would rather train than play, and I think that it's in her bloodline as well. So I will have to come up with some jobs for her, as she has a substantial work ethic to be satisfied. Yes. That she does. And she still prefers playing with cats to hurting them. And that's good. That's a good thing. Star adores her and was her first and biggest fan. He apparently needs to be a caregiver. And Star had a moon in Cancer, and that's where that came from. He just adored her, and he needs to be a caregiver. He loved doing that for Apple while he was alive. Red actually likes to play with Happy the best, and even allows her to stand over him and kiss and rub on him. And that's also because Happy reminds him of his dog friend Spirit, who became his mom. So, of course, when it all becomes over the top, as it frequently will at her age, the cats swat and hiss when they've ceased to be amused. Jazz has accepted Happy and has even shown some interest. She always liked dogs better anyway, and I'm thinking they'll be good friends as Happy matures. Meanwhile, the crone cat, Jazz, will make her mind her manners when approaching and wait for signs of intelligent life from the puppy world, which is good. She'll make her much better with cats. Tucky, formerly the office and then bedroom cat, has relocated into the newly refurbished living room, which I've cordoned off to make sure that it stays beautiful through this transition with Happy. Happy seems interested, and Tucky seems interested in her, but content to love her from afar. Tucky also prefers dogs to other cats. My beautiful Appaloosa mare China Moon seemed to immediately want to nuzzle and baby Happy. When I held her up to her face to meet and greet, they both seemed to be slightly apprehensive of each other's species, but I can see a sweet warmth growing between them daily. Fortunately, Happy has a healthy respect for China's size and is not one of those little dogs with delusions of grandeur. When I first brought them together, I brought Happy right up to China's face, and I said, "China, this is your puppy. And Happy, this is your horse." And I did this with the two of them several times a day. And it was just sweet to watch that shift happening. When I feed China through the computer room window, which I call her drive-through, the pup loves to jump up and try to lick her muzzle as it comes through the window. Or perhaps she's just more opportunistic and really just wants some of her feed. Seems like my job this summer is to create a happy, healthy home where all in it feel loved and cared for, including me. I take this job very seriously and ideally joyfully, each day finding those special sacred moments of blissful peace. And, of course, they don't come all that often, but, I look for them. In order that I have the time to keep writing this book, and the book I'm referring to is Lifetime Companions, I've recruited a dear friend's daughter, Maya, who adored Happy from the first meet. I pay her to come over and play with Happy for an hour while I write, which gives all of us what we need right now, and is a great solution for me to make special writing time, and perhaps to have another friend. I really am liking how this is all working as I work on positive ways to move through my second Saturn return, which focuses on home and family. Snuggling with Happy is divine. And looking into those deep brown eyes when she's not trying to nip me is even better. I sometimes thought of giving her the middle name of Jaws, but I thought I don't want to really affirm that behavior. Speaking of names, when my mother heard that I named the new little one Happy, she said in her inimitable, joy-killing style, "Well, at least you didn't call her Moon or something like that." Realizing that I had neglected to give her the family name, she is now officially Happy Moon, Silvermoon. Thanks, Ma. I'm still feeling out which of my furry familiars from the other side of the veil are inhabiting Happy. Another psychic friend looked at a few pics of my departed friends and thought that she was Manuelo Mellowfellow, who was a gorgeous Russian blue kitten that I had for a year. They both do share that Velcro-style personality, and he really opened my heart at the time. I can see where she is creating the same opening now, so we will know more as she develops. And I say now, as years have gone by, she absolutely was Manuelo Mellowfellow. And she had certainly some of his qualities. The main one is that Manuelo was a vortex, as I was explained to, and I didn't know what in the world that meant. But what it did mean was that any animal from my past could move through him and be there with me when they wanted to. Well, the same thing has been true of Happy, but she went him one better, or I became much more understanding of the process, which was that for her, wherever we went, and she just became the life of the party anywhere I took her. The first visit to PetSmart was a little peek at how life with Happy was going to be out in public. And people would walk up to her. I called them the paparazzi. And I saw grown men fall to the ground at the flea market, wrap their arms around her and say, "Oh, my goodness, you remind me of my favorite dog that I lost when I was a child." There it was, the vortex. Anyway, it was just a part of the personality. I remind myself of my mother when I look at Happy's angelic sleeping form and tell her how good she is when she sleeps. We no longer have major biting fests at bedtime, and I have declared my bed as a bite-free zone, which I'm enforcing with mostly good cooperation. I've always heard how puppies get you up early. Well, my little diva likes to sleep in, which is fine by me. Absolutely fine by me. Those morning snuggles when she's still soft and sleepy are so, so sweet. Brother Star sleeps between my calves, and Happy usually sleeps pressed against my right side. And waking to the image of a white cat, my leg, and a black dog is just so sweet, such a sight, especially when we are all still wiping the sleep from our eyes. Yep, I'm in love with my new puppy. The signs are clear, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. This time will go fast. Sometimes I think not fast enough. But I intend to enjoy all of the bounce and joy that this little one has to offer. And that, my friends, is quite a lot. Must take another little break, and I will give you the last tidbits of my world with Happy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Robertson, host of TV Confidential. Thank you so much for listening to our program on PWRN, Passionate World Radio Network. If you like TV Confidential or any of the other programs you hear every week on PWRN, please consider supporting this station by becoming a patron of Passionate World Radio Network through Patreon. It is easy to do. It won't cost you more than a few dollars per month. And best of all, you will help PWRN continue to educate, enlighten, and entertain our global audience of 10 million strong and growing. For more information, go to patreon.com/PWRN. That's Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/PWRN. And thank you again for listening.
Okay, this is Flash Silvermoon with What the Animals Tell Me. And I'm telling you the last little bits about life with Happy, specifically sleepy time. Sleepy time. She was so sweet. She loved, her favorite thing was to literally lay on top of me. And thank goodness she was not as large as I thought she was going to be. That was a good thing because she liked to lay right over me and put her paws on my shoulders. And then what would happen is she went from being vertical on me to sort of slightly horizontal. And she'd kind of slip down further and further. And while she was still asleep at that point, when she was totally horizontal, I kind of just moved her to my side. And that was how she slept. And that worked out pretty well. Ironically, though, she was such a quiet dog. I wondered, would she ever bark? Well, now I know that certainly the barking worked. She definitely learned to bark. But one strange morning when she was about maybe 3 months old or so, 4 months old, she laid right across me, and the most horrific gurgling semi-bark was coming out of her as she looked at the wall. Now, I don't know what in the world she saw, felt, heard, smelled, but she was putting her body right over mine, and that snarl with her teeth bared, I thought, not to worry about Happy. This dog will protect me for the rest of my life. And certainly, as sweet as she is and was, that's been true. And she certainly would clearly take anything on. But ironically, when the possums started living in my house, I came into the kitchen one morning, and the possum was eating her dog food from her bowl on the floor. And there was Happy sitting opposite side of the room, watching the possum eating her food, as if to say, "Hey, Mom, look, we have a new cat." So, she did not have that kind of nature of being a dog that would run and kill just anything that showed up. So she definitely has a most interesting personality between extreme gentleness, because she is a Pisces like her mama, and that Mars-Pluto opposition in her chart. And when Melanie and I talked about her, we talked about that she had two names, and she also had Gemini rising, Happy and Snappy. So many things I have learned about her and life with Happy. I hope this has been fun for you and perhaps a guidepost for your future endeavors with finding the perfect puppy. This is Flash Silvermoon for What the Animals Tell Me, signing off. And you can find me at flashsilvermoon.com.
Thank you for listening to Passionate World Radio Network, a multimedia company. You can listen to this program all over again at PassionateWorldRadioNetwork.com, Facebook.com/PWRN, Twitter.com/PWRN, GooglePlus.com/PWRN. Distinguish yourself from the ordinary. And remember, please keep listening.